Welcome back to the Skid Factory, where today we're going to answer some frequently asked Bedford questions.
So get off Forza and grab yourself a lemon squash.
Woody's been trawling through the comments on social media and on YouTube, and he's collated a series of questions that are commonly asked. He's got it on his Gen Y notebook here, which looks suspiciously like an iPhone of some description.
iPhone 7 is the pinnacle of iPhones. So my first question is, Al, do you know that you can get Skid Factory stubby coolers and Skid Factory shirts and allied shirts at the MCM store?
That is news to me.
News?
I should rush over to the MCM store and buy one of each, or maybe two. Buy one for your wife. They look really great in Skid Factory and allied shirts. You can sit down and drink your lemon squash with your stubby cooler, koozie, whatever you want to call it.
Koozie, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call it in America, apparently. And you can gaze at your sexy wife wearing a Skid Factory shirt.
Sure. So the first question being is, how do you know Millsy? Who is he, and where did the idea for a Barra Powered Bedford come from in the first place?
So I used to work on Millsy's previous vehicle, which was a Toyota Hilux. It looked a bit like a flat brimmer sort of mini truck thing, but it had a sort of recessed firewalled 1UZ with a GT42 turbo on it, so it was a pretty badass sort of vehicle. I used to do various things to that for him, which he's now sold to another friend of mine, who is very keen to race it against this.
You got lots of friends, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a friendly kind of guy, you know.
So where did the Barra come from?
So, yeah, after he sold the other vehicle, one day he sends me a picture of this vehicle sitting on the back of a car trailer, and I was like, "Are you taking the piss? What the hell's that thing?" And he says, "That's my new car," and I went, "Okay, are you taking the piss? What the hell is that thing?" So he repeated it a few times until I realised that he is indeed off his head and had actually bought this car with the purposes of sticking an engine of some description in it.
So was it always a Barra though? No. Originally
I said put a 1JZ in it because that'd be heaps powerful enough for this old crappy van, and I was right. And then he said, "No, let's put a Barra in it." And I was like, "Whatever, okay." So we did.
So another question is the Barra. If you are Australian or a Kiwi, you will be familiar with what the Barra is, but if you're not from Australia or New Zealand, you might be questioning on what the Barra is and where they come from. There is lots of different variations of Barras. 2002, I think, was the first double overhead cam Barra. So the 4 litre was in the old Falcons, 4 litre straight 6-cylinder single overhead cam, and in 2002 they went to a double overhead cam motor in the BA Falcons. So the Falcons over here are our taxis. They're everywhere, absolutely everywhere. A lot of Americans saying that Barras are cheap. Not necessarily. This motor was...
This motor with a ZF transmission, which is only a couple of years old, so it's out of the very last of the cars, so probably, I guess you could call it the best one, was 7,000 Australian dollars, so by no means cheap.
That's including everything, I think.
That's everything,
like
pedals.
There's still a radiator in the back.
Came with the radiators, intercoolers, you name it, everything that they could dig out of
basically a half cut from a wrecker's minus a wiring room that we needed.
That's probably the top money you will pay for a complete package. Yes, you can buy a Barra for $85 from a wrecker's that is out of a BA, NA,
or you can buy a whole
with
BA
500,000 kilometres on it. Yeah, well, yep.
From rim wreckers for $80.
$60.
$60?
Yeah.
I forget how much I paid.
Yeah, BA was off now. $60, mate. $60, it's yours.
But those engines are junk and they're not going to handle boost. Even the turbo engines in the earlier ones had a limit where you would, Uncle Rodney would come to visit at short notice, and so if you're going to get an $80 one, you need to rebuild it. which is great. Like you can do it, and it is. If you like rebuilding engines, then that's probably the best thing to do because it's easier to get parts for, and you can build a fairly stout engine for probably the cost of an FG turbo engine, a bare engine, which is about $3,000 Australian. So yeah, it's up to you. But
bare long motor, about $3,000. Yeah. Transmission wise, they came with a BTR 4
the BTR 4-speed, which is
also junk, isn't it? Unless you build them.
It's just a taxi gearbox. You can build them. Some people will go, oh, they're good, you can do this and that, but they're not good. They're just an old junk taxi gearbox that you can spend a fortune on making it a little bit better.
They came with T56s.
T56, oh, they come with T5s, which
manual.
used to splatter themselves all over the road in BAs. Then they went, oh, wow, that's not good enough, which was pretty obvious to everyone else, but so they upgraded them to a T56, so a Tremec box, just a Ford variant of it, which are good. Not great for drag racing or anything like that, obviously, because you can't get them to shift very quickly, as Klopfy found out. So, yeah, the ZF is the best box. It's also got its limitations. That people do build them and get.
You can
build them to hold power, but it's very expensive, and they still won't hold.
A lot of Aussies are now going for, instead of building the ZF. I mean, ZF's great, awesome gearbox. People are putting Turbo 400s, Power Glides, and C4s and stuff behind them now. Yeah. Everyone's making kits for them. You can get bell housings and billet flex plates, all that kind of stuff. So ring up a torque converter shop and get a converter made, you're good to go. So cost-wise, that comes into another question of how much did this cost? If you're building a car, you know that it costs money. Building a car costs money, regardless. You say you've got a 10 grand budget, that's always going to blow out to 20 grand. You know, that's just what happens.
And if you're building a Bedford with a Barra in it, that you've got to chop the whole floor out, make everything custom made, you don't even think about how much it costs because you know it's going to cost a lot of money. No one knows how to do this. We've sort of half figured it out on the way through. We had no idea what we were in for, that's why it took so long. So
if I quote you at the start, you did say it'd be a simple job. Oh, it's going to be sweet.
I did not say that.
Cut the floor out and we'll put it back. It's
bullshit. I think I was probably being ironic if I said that, because I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Just like putting a 3RZ in a Stout.
Yeah, we should do that.
Also cost-wise is, so example, 7 grand for the motor. Millsy probably spent double that on parts, probably even more than double that on parts. So the list goes on and on and on and on. When you're using quality fittings, when you're using quality parts, you just spend a buttload. And it's people like Millsy are the guys that you want to work on their cars because you say, hey bro, it needs this, and it's either he organises or he just said, here's my credit card, and you buy it and it's good to go. If you own a workshop, you know, or run a workshop, you know the painful customers that you have that have $20 to spend for a $20,000 job. So
yeah.
It's not Forza.
Can't press X. You can only press in your credit card numbers, and then X is the unknown quantity of how much money it's going to cost at the end.
So following on from cost, people say why the Bedford, and that just comes down to the same thing as...
I can't answer that.
If you're building a car...
I'm not even sure Millsy can answer that. He wanted a van that you could put... He's got a race, like a circuit racing... road bike, as in...
So does his wife, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Bo's got one too?
And his wife. She's got a pink R6 and he's got a ZX12 or something. So, yeah, they're
crazy.
They're pretty crazy.
You guys are crazy.
So, yeah, the idea is to be able to transport both those and dirt bikes, which Millsy and his wife also have. So, yeah.
It's a sickness. People modify Nissan Patrols, people modify Mitsubishi Challengers, people modify random cars. Don't
ask why people do things. It's just that's what modifying cars is about. You just do whatever you want. And when other people complain about it, they're only just taking a break from playing Forza, so don't worry about it.
Time it took to do the build. So this car has been at the SKID factory for near on probably 8 months maybe since it's been parked out the front.
Yep.
It didn't take 8 months to do, but I mean,
What do we got on a 38 days or something?
Yeah, I think I've got about 38 or 40 days filming total. So, and that's not including a lot of the days where we didn't film, and there was lots of fiddly jobs that we just went ahead and did.
But yeah, it takes
a long time.
Filming makes the job take longer. So yes, it was a big job. Would I do it again? No, because it's not a really practical job, really. There's probably a heap of other engines you could stick in there that would actually fit without cutting the floor out. I did it because Millsy wanted to do it. That's end of story.
Some guy asked what happened to the 186 202. What was it?
I don't know.
Blue motor.
Who cares? No one cares about 202s. Well, there probably are a couple of people that cares about them, but we don't. So yeah, if you want a 202, just go to the dump. There'll be one underneath the dirt somewhere there.
1-800 Bedford guy.
Yeah. Or Bedford Parts guy, you probably have one. We can give you his number if you like.
Yes, I've got a lot of Bedford parts here. What do you need there, son?
So moving on from would you do it again, what was the most difficult part of the job in your eyes?
Difficulty was just basically getting the engine in there. We had a compromise between ground clearance to keep the engine down far enough that the manifolds would fit, and cutting the floor out so we could lift the engine up so the gearbox and sump didn't scrape on the road. So it just wasn't a very practical engine to fit in the car just because of the sheer size of it.
They are a big motor. They're
very tall.
Yeah.
And yeah, like...
And white, I suppose white for us. Double head cam 6-cylinder, you'd say?
Yeah, it's white. The engine's big, yeah. So yeah, if you've watched it, you saw what we had to go through. So there was a lot of thinking on the go sort of thing, which makes for a good video, I suppose.
Speaking of thinking on the go, the Toyota turbo sumps, a lot of people have asked us about them, and yes, that is the way to properly drain a turbo when it's mounted down low. Those Toyota turbo sumps don't fit every turbo. They've been designed to fit Al's 86 turbo kits on the Toyota kits. They fit the whatever turbo is on them.
Basically, I chopped it up to make it fit.
To fit any other turbo, they won't fit. So
yeah.
Call your fab guy, show him a photo and say, I need this. He can make one up for you.
It's easy enough to make.
It doesn't need to be fancy CNC stuff. It's, whatever works.
They don't need to be that low profile either. They're like that because in my 86 turbo kit, there's ground right there. So you can make them a lot bulkier than that if you've got no ground clearance problems. So please stop asking us to sell you one because it just will not fit unless your turbo is exactly the same as ours and it's also rotated the same way. It won't fit. So go and make one.
Next thing is, what's your favourite part on the car? What's your favourite thing about the Bedford? Mine would be the backwards facing turbo, I think. The truck mounted turbo for sure. And adapting an NA manifold. That is cool. I like that. That's a cool idea.
I like the ECU because it just works and runs like a charm. There was wiring involved, but you've got to wire up a non-factory ECU as well. So that came out pretty well. I was pretty happy with the way it just works. No problem.
So what's next for the Bedford, and will it get painted, is a question. Actually, beginning on that, will it get painted? The car is not rusty. People were whinging about how rusty it is.
Can I do this?
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of people saying stupid shit about the car being rusty.
Yes, there is a bit of rust.
It has got surface rust on it. It has come from Central Australia, and all that you see underneath is red dirt. And
red dirt is good.
Pock marks. Like it's been living somewhere where there's zero moisture. Like it never rains. It's 40 degrees and dry as hell. So people just look at this red and think that it's rust. It's not. I wouldn't do that. We wouldn't have done the car if it was rusty.
Yeah.
We're not in the business of wasting 6 months of our lives building something that's going to break in half.
Yes,
so
very true.
Get over it. It's not rusty.
Millsy,
there's nothing wrong with the car. It's old. It's a work van. He was going to paint it. I'd say he probably will, but I reckon it looks cool as it is.
Yeah, I think it is very cool. It's a Bedford. It's not going to be the Bedford if it's painted.
No, it'll look like a rat with a gold tooth if you put paint over it.
It is a bit of a rat with a gold tooth already, though. I mean, it's got a FGX Barra in a
Just needs
in
to
a
tidy up,
1980
really.
van.
I'd be more worried about making the doors open and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's true.
They should really open from the inside. Apparently that's a problem with Bedford Parts guy was saying.
Unfortunately, the lock doesn't really work from the inside. It only works on the outside.
So what's next for the Bedford video-wise is Matt. You can see this, it's literally how we've left off. There is no passenger seat, everything's sitting there. Matt is going to be making up the doghouse. It's going out to his house to get that done, so he's got his bead roller and everything there to make it. Then it's back to us. I think we've got the task of still to fit the handbrake cables and stuff on it, which the brakes are junk. That's a different story altogether. That was probably another difficult part of the build. Videos on it. We've got a few mates lined up to race.
We've got Chris
Ethel,
which we won't mention his nickname because this is a family show.
He's got a pretty cool turbo van. Scotty Hoffman down at Cleveland Exhaust. You have to get your truck up and running. Al told me that you have a bit of work to do. So
he doesn't have any work to do. He just wants to make it go faster because he wants to beat the van.
Okay. And we may have a bit of a comparison of a standard Bedford with a standard motor getting lined up just to show you the difference.
That'd be cool.
But Millsy's plan for this car is endless. He's got plenty of huge plans with this thing. He will drive it daily. He will be taking it to roll racing. He'll be taking it drag racing, all that kind of stuff. And no doubt I'm going to be there with the camera and documenting that kind of stuff because it's cool. It's a cool car, and I know you guys want to see that stuff, and it's cool to watch. So that will all be getting covered in an episode or a couple of episodes. Finalising the build. We've already started a few more cars. A couple more cars. The other one hasn't been started yet.
We have an endless supply of vehicles to work on.
We have got cars coming out of our ears, and we had to kind of draw the line somewhere with this because it will just go on and on and on. And we have been filming it weekly. This is coming to you as live as it can come.
We're literally working on it 2 days before you saw the video every time. Every single episode, that was the case.
Yeah, that was it.
So we thought we'd try doing that. In some ways it works.
It worked out well.
But it also doesn't leave us much leeway for when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
So obviously we're ahead now because we actually did build another car at the same time, which also takes time as well, of course.
It's not hard to figure out what that is. It is in the background and it's coming out soon. Maybe sooner rather than later.
Very soon. Very soon. Shout outs to Martin.
That's pretty much it from here though. It's running, it skids. We are going for a ride today again. That was another question. How many lemon squashes were consumed? Lots. Lemon squashes are great. You can't have them before 10. Too many carbs too early breaks you down and it's not good for your diet. But there was lots of lemon squashes. We like lemon squash, it's good.
Lemon squash after a long dirt bike ride are good.
Can you tell us what your favourite soda pop is? Let us know in the comments.
Someone mentioned that this Skid Factory logo, which you can get on a shirt or a stubby cooler, looks like a factory in Milton in Brisbane.
Oh, that factory with the big guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
It does, eh?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was in Gav's mind when he made it. He's a pretty clever bloke, that Gav.
No copyright. Don't call us, Milton. Actually do.
Yeah.
We've got a sponsorship deal here.
Thanks for coming along for the ride on making Millsy's Bedford into a sillier vehicle than it already was. Go and check out Rodrigos's social media pages. Hit that bell thing, whatever that is. And hop over to the MCM store and grab a koozie and a shirt for you and your wife or your girlfriend, whatever, or your boyfriend, if that's how you roll. That'll help us be able to afford to eat. Thanks for watching.